This is a trade recap for Friday, February 27th, 2026. Number 22 of 30 for one and done. Everything is proceeding well there. Kind of an interesting day in the market. Had a decent sized gap down here this morning, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. Yeah, it's one of those things where that does happen, and it's always a good thing to, I guess, practice when you get those kind of events. Again, every repetition and every kind of different situation the market throws at you, just another notch in the belt in terms of building experience and exposure to everything and anything the market can potentially throw at you. And yeah, trying to think of anything else that's really going on. No. Again, good day, good, again, disciplined. Trade was triggered pretty quick, was in and out, didn't really hang around. Sometimes that just happens. But yeah, if you are new to day trading and you are interested in learning, or if you are a struggling day trader and you're looking for a high-level coach and mentor, I highly recommend checking out Pat Mitchell over at tricktrades.com. He is the coach and mentor that I've chosen to basically learn from and have for coming up on 2 years since basically the launch of the SizeUp program. And it has definitely been not to use a kind of a overused cliche term, but a game changer, at least for me. Has really shown a lot of my flaws and everything, and the amount of knowledge and guidance as well as lessons Pat gives out on a daily basis is worth its weight in gold when it comes to learning how to do this. So I highly recommend you check him out if this is something you're truly interested in doing and doing well. Again, to that professional degree, not as a hobby, not as, again, kind of a half-hearted effort, but a serious full-time career that can get you your freedom and probably the life you would prefer to have versus slogging away at a 9 to 5 in the rat race. And if you need a sampling of kind of like what he offers, come to his site, read over the services and everything. It is a education service, not a trading service that gives alerts and that kind of crap. Those don't work. They're scams. It's just a lot of chaos and noise. So take this very seriously. And if you need kind of want a sample, I would say, of his information that he gives out, you can check out his YouTube channel over at Trick Trades as well. He has approximately 1,700 videos there at this point. And yeah, you get a good solid taste of what he offers. If you're interested in the Trick Trades SizeUp program, I have a link in the description to the webinar. You can check that out. That's what I do. And it's a very structured approach to learning how to day trade properly. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into today's session. So let's see here, pull up the market session right here. So here is the live session. We're about a minute out from the open. And just to go over a few things, if you're new here, what you see on the screen is basically how I have my stuff laid out. This is also very similar to the way Pat has his laid out. You have the intraday here in the middle with 1 minute candles. On the left, you have your daily chart. These are daily candles. And then I keep my order execution on the right because I'll like it in one screen. That way, again, I don't have to look away from the price action as it's going on to potentially change things around in terms of order entries and things like that. These blue levels you see are developed by Pat the night before and refined the morning of a trade session. And once they are placed before the open, they're basically set in stone. They do not move. They do not change for any reason. And that is what we basically trade off of. He builds full-fledged trade plans, both directions off of these levels for us. An exercise I like to do is basically try to pick the same levels before he does. That way, it's one of those things, it's kind of like kicking the tires. Am I seeing what he's seeing? Am I evaluating the charts the same way he's evaluating the charts? So it's a good daily exercise. And if you, again, one of the things where if I miss something, it's like, okay, take note of that. What did I miss? So good exercise there. And then I'll basically let this play. And we can basically see how everything unfolds. Again, had a decent size gap down from where we closed. We're kind of trading between two levels to form a channel. Moving averages on SPY were potentially in play. Qs, they were a bit high, so I wasn't sure whether or not we would get up there to them, especially when we trade. We generally try to limit our trade to that first hour of the market, because one of the things where if your idea here is to basically get in the market, make your money to pay your bills, and then move on with your day, versus sitting in front of the market and your monitors all day, because that's really no different than having a 9 to 5 at that point. So why subject yourself to that if you don't have to? So just some food for thought on that one. About to open. Looking like Qs is going to close to that shorting level. SPY a little bit closer to the shorting level, but not all the way. So now we're going to wait to see what triggers first. So Qs is popping up. It's going to hit it first. Entered into it because it was the first to trigger. SPY is also testing its level, though it had a little bit further to go. So that's why Qs is going to push a little bit higher. There was a potential to add there, but didn't take it coming into that pre-market range. And there's the reaction and dumping the position. It is Friday. Was a big gap down. Might see some volatility or might get scooped up. Got a quick screenshot right there. And yeah, that's basically first to trigger and one and done. So that's it for me for the day in terms of a trade. Were there other opportunities? Yeah, potentially, but it's one of those things where you got to stay committed to the rules that you are trading with. And then I'll just kind of speed this up a little bit so we can kind of see how this unfolds. That's the funny thing. If you didn't take that on, if you entered into Qs and you didn't pay yourself on that first reaction, that's kind of the interesting thing. Because as you'll see, it's like, oh, it comes back up and it has that follow through. And if you didn't add an average into that position at that point, where you just stopped out, you would have been red potentially. And again, that's why order management is important. That's why adding and averaging in when appropriate is important. But also, probably the biggest thing is paying yourself on that first reaction is also extremely important. And that's where I tend to get myself into a lot of trouble, or had in the past, where I would not pay on that first reaction, and then it's like was a green trade and then turns into a red trade, which is kind of one of the cardinal sins, turning a nice green trade into a red trade because you're just looking for too much. So as you can see, ultimately it does push higher, and that was how that basically unfolded. And if you tried to bag hold it, you would have just gotten crushed. Those contracts would have been basically worthless as the morning progressed and these melted down. So lesson there is don't be a bag holder. Like, follow your trade plan, respect your levels, respect your stops. And that's one of those things where when you deviate, and Pep points this out, it's like, when do you get in trouble? Like when you deviate from the strategy, when you deviate from the trade plan, when you deviate from discipline, that is where you will get yourself in trouble. Because then you're going to start getting emotional, especially if you're new to this or you're struggling with this, and then you're going to make bad decisions, and it just kind of has this cascading effect where, yeah, it turns into a larger loss than it needs to be. You should just stopped out, reset. Because one of those things where it's like, oh, I stopped out. Okay, it happens. Again, not all trades have to work. Now, again, if you were not doing something like one and done, where you, again, allow yourself to take multiple trades in a day, in the early morning session, it's like, yeah, you could potentially look for another opportunity, because you can see, like here on SPY, it's like, okay, this would have been that first opportunity. If you did it on Qs, you got stopped out or shaken out here or here. It's like SPY came right into those levels, respected it beautifully, came right back down. That would have been a perfect trade. Qs is one of those things where, hey, it came down and remounted this level after breaking above. So again, there were some other opportunities right there off those levels. And again, since these are kind of like inside levels, you don't want to throw a ton of size at them, because it's, again, they're not the strongest levels. But all in all, good day. Simple, basic green trade. Pull the entry up real quick just to see it. Again, in and out, sub 60 seconds. Again, it's about, I don't know, 30 seconds honestly. And again, that was that. And that happens sometimes. All in all, good day. So green day on top of a green week. Every trade this week was green, as well as a green month. This is the last trading day of the month. Every single trade taken under one and done has been green. So that kind of is a testament to how powerful that is. One and done, first to trigger, generally, not always. You got to watch the price action and kind of the conditions for that. And then just paying yourself on that first reaction, adding and averaging when and where appropriately. Again, that's all those things that you put those pieces together. All of a sudden, it's like now you're seeing very, very consistent results. And that's all thanks to Pat and his mentorship and coaching that we get on a daily basis. So if you are looking for that high level coach and mentor that actually cares if you succeed in this, check out Pat Mitchell over at tricktrades.com. Hopefully we'll see you in the service. And that's all I got on this one. So we'll see everyone next week for the beginning of March. And yeah, enjoy your weekends and catch you later.